Hello and welcome to TV Retrospective, where we retrospectively look back at TV. I'm Conor.
I'm Corey.
I'm Jacob.
And this week, we're covering Over the Garden Wall.
Yes, quite interesting TV show, to say the least.
That's right, this is first Halloween special. Ooh, spooky. So
Spooky.
I decided that we should pick Over the Garden Wall, the Cartoon Network miniseries.
The spookiest.
Well, it is, kind of. It's up, it's like this.
Definitely unexpected.
It's like this, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and whatever else Cartoon Network has done.
This one can be actually spooky.
Though more it's more in an existential way than a
Spooky
what's
way.
the word?
It's
Yeah.
like, boo, gotcha, ah, ha, ha, ha. It's less that, it's more like, Jesus Christ. We'll jump right into it. Episode 1, The Old Grist Mill.
See, this was the first time I ever watched this show. First time I ever heard about it. And so, at the start of the episode, I saw Made by Cartoon Network. And I went, oh, alright, so generally seeing their other stuff, I'm going into it with kind of low horror, spooky expectations. Holy shit, 5 minutes into it, I'm like, shoot, this is dark. This
You can
got
swear,
dark.
Corey.
Holy shit, it's dark. It came out of nowhere. I was watching this at 11 at night. And I was just in the chair, I was just sitting down watching it peacefully, like, oh, pretty neat. This little dude's got a frog. The brother seems like a bit of a dick. Oh shit! Oh no! Wolf! Scary wolf!
Was that the
people.
wolf, or would
Yeah.
it have been the blood tree?
Okay. The blood tree was spooky, but not quite as bad as the frog making the noise and then boom! Wolf head trying to devour the child.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. Yeah, it kind of just... Because it starts off and you see... Because the whole plot is that Wart and Greg and their pet frog are just traveling the unknown, which is the
Mr.
forest.
President.
well, yeah, he has seven... He has seven... He has so many names throughout the show.
Well, isn't his final one, James or Jason something?
Jason Thunderburker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah. So I love that. So the little opening you get was like the introduction with the frog playing the piano. Like every image that's shown correlates to every single episode. So the first image is like the woodsman and his daughter. The second one, Pottstown. Third one shows like the circus. The fourth one shows the guy in the mansion as he sees the ghost.
Well, ghost in
Yeah.
the quotation marks I'm doing.
But so so the introduction shows each thing, and going into the rewatch at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Well, I actually really liked the song at the start of it. I was just sitting back listening to it nicely, and I was like, damn, I have pretty good hopes for this show. Like, it seems mellow and peaceful, but at the same time, it has that hint of mystery and suspicion behind it.
Like death.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 minutes in, I'm like, yes, let's talk about the concept of death. Jump right into that one.
I mean, is that not the concept of this whole show, in a sense?
Yeah, it very much is about death. And, the music, because this show is very, the colours and the way, and the music, it's so mellow and a bit peaceful. But it's got that bit of, I don't know what's gonna happen, or, something's off, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. But, the voice cast is really good for this.
Yeah.
It's weirdly, it's weirdly got a lot of, don't get me wrong, regular show had Mark Hamill as Skips. You do have, those big voice actors in roles like that. But, dude, it has, Elijah Wood as Wart.
Wait, that's Wart?
Yeah, Elijah Wood. Yeah, it's...
Oh.
Yeah,
No, that makes sense, actually, yeah.
yeah,
Now that about it, yeah.
Oh, Tim Curry was Auntie Whispers.
Huh.
That's insane. I didn't even know he was in the show. Like John Cleese is in the show, which is nuts. Again, he plays Adelaide. And then Christopher Lloyd, otherwise known as Doc Brown, he's the woodsman. Like, this cast is ridiculous.
Huh. I had no idea, like, that there was anyone I, like, knew of in this show. I was just, like, toward the end, I was like, they did really good in the voice cast on this.
Oh, yeah, that's another point as well. Like, you just don't... You know, like, apart from the woodsman, because I've seen Back to the Future so much, I'm like, that's Doc Brown. But, like, I had to look up going, oh, it's Elijah Wood. Oh, it's John Cleese. Oh, it's Tim Curry. Like, what the... Like, for most cartoons, you don't have, like... Sure, you have, like, again, famous voice actors in the industry, like, reappearing. Like, for a TV show, don't get me wrong, you expect someone like Tom Kenny, who's SpongeBob, and pretty much everyone. He's a lot of people. You expect him to, like, you know, be in a lot of TV shows. You're like, oh, cool, he's in this one. Neat. It's like big people. And you just go, wow, they joined this?
For a relatively unknown Cartoon Network miniseries.
You say relatively unknown,
Yeah, exactly.
but, like, it was a big deal at the time, and it's still praised as one of the best things Cartoon Network has done.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, I'd never even heard about it until I had this suggested to me.
Yeah, I have, like, only seen once or twice it being mentioned at all myself.
And probably they were from me, to be honest. I at least I was a little bit in it at the time, and I saw a lot of people really happy with it. Gosh, it's windy out today, isn't it, Corey?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
I've turned noise suppression on, so that should help a bit.
Look, it's not the worst audio we've had on the channel. We've had much worse.
Yes, my bad. I am trying to remedy the situation, but unfortunately, I can't get the cap skins for my headphones.
So back to the first episode. One, the animation's pretty. I like the animation. It's just cool.
It works.
It works really well for, like, that old-fashioned fantasy style, which I think always has the aura of death, which is, like, because, you know, because you grim fairy tales and stuff like that. But because of, like, it's old and everything's just a bit... Because old is creepy. That's just how that works.
Ouch.
It's just how that works. You go to an abandoned house that's been abandoned for, like, 50 years, that's not going to be creepy.
Okay, you have a point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talking about the two characters, so Wart, he's a bit of an asshole. He's not great at first.
He's not very optimistic. He's very...
I think at one of my notes I was like, he's very 14. He's very 13, 14.
Yeah, they did really well on that.
That's, like, spot on, yeah.
Because, like, he's trying to live his life, but then, like, he has a younger brother, which is from his stepdad. I think it was stepdad, yeah, stepdad. And, like, he like, that has obviously been, like, a newer change. So he's still trying to deal with that, as well as, like, as it's later revealed in episodes, we'll talk about that. But, like, he's dealing with a lot, and as a person with a brother, when you're younger, you're a bit like, oh, it's all your fault. What are you doing? Stop doing that.
Yeah, you tend to pin the blame on them a lot.
Even though now you're looking at it going, don't be like that. Don't be an arsehole. Stop.
It's just one of the things about having younger siblings.
But with the contrast of Greg just being like, having not a care in the world and doing whatever he wants, is real funny. It's like, because in the first episode, the woodsman takes him in because he's like, there's a beast outside. And so he takes him inside. And then Wart's like, okay, he's probably going to kill us, so we should probably knock him out or something. And then he describes the plan. He goes, you know what, scratch that plan. We won't worry about that. We won't worry about that plan. Because the woodsman's like, you can leave at any time.
And Greg just does it.
But in the background, the whole time while Ward is talking, you just see him picking up different items and swinging them. Like testing to see if they would work well enough.
And ends up turning to, like, the best Rube Goldberg machine.
But yeah, so then, like, yeah, he walks around and, like, there's the wolf, which they're like, oh, it's the beast, and the woodsman's like, it's not the beast, even though it kind of is.
It's a beast, but it's not the beast.
No, but I think it is the beast
In a
because
sense,
because of the
maybe,
eyes.
yeah. True.
Yeah,
Because the only time we see those eyes again is from the beast itself in the last episode.
yeah. But we actually see it turn into a
Yeah.
normal dog.
It's a possession.
I think this is also, like, this first episode is really good at setting the tone of the show. Like, the way it
Yeah.
shows, like, oh, big scary monster, and then, like, immediately it's like, oh, no, it's just a dog. I'm not explaining this well, but, like, the way, like, everything's kind of scary, but not inherently so, if that makes sense.
Well, what I got from that was everything can be scary if you're like from a different perspective.
It is similar to like that. The example I think of is like the Gravity Falls, the first episode of that, where it's like it very much hits the nail on the head of like this is kind of what the show is, where it has like it's got some chase scenes, it's got some good action, it's got some funny jokes, it's got all the character dynamics, and it's got like a wacky weird twist. Like that's the same. Like these two first episodes do great job at setting up the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison.
Chapter 2, Hard Times at the Huskin Bee. So yeah, so this is where we meet another character, Beatrice, who is a bluebird.
Technically, we met her in episode 1, didn't we?
Did we? I don't remember. We might have.
I think she was just in the background of episode 1.
Yeah. Like, she probably, like, she talks
Yeah, well,
in this one, I think.
yeah. She spoke to Wart last time, and he was like, "Oh my god, it's talking," and she just went, "It." I'm sorry, what?
It could have been. It could have been at the end of episode. I just don't remember. Again, I watched it at 1 a.m. in the morning. But yeah, so this episode is another good one that like sets up like the weird tone of the show. But yeah, so you get to meet Beatrice, and she's a talking bird, and Greg saves her, and then she kind of has to tag along because she owes him a favor. Which Greg's like, a wish! Yeah. And she's like, no, it's not a wish, it's a favor.
Can you turn me into a magical tiger? Once again, it's not magical, it's a favor.
It was real funny.
Greg's really
the notes
good.
I have a few quotes. But so like the first notice that I noticed that Water's wearing two different types of shoes.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a thing they don't really mention, but is a thing that...
I never noticed that. I'll have to go rewatch it.
I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but this is my second watch, and I was like, that's a black shoe and that's a grey shoe. Why?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, was it... Like, it could be because... Oh, wait, no. Well, it is... I can explain why later this episode. Or, like, later this retrospective.
Right, yeah. Well, so we enter the town, and it's Pottsburg, which is where or Pottsfield, where the woodsman said to go because there's a town up north. And so they went there, and it's kind of very abandoned. But then you go into like a barn, and in the barn,
barn house,
it's a bunch of pumpkin people having a dance
around it's like a pumpkin cult.
yeah. The quote from Ward, it's like it's just some sort of weird cult.
They seem nice enough.
Which I'm like, oh yeah, Cartoon Network just said cult, cool. I mean, it's probably been said before, but it's just weird to think about, you know.
It's just some kind of friendly pumpkin cult. They seem nice enough.
Yeah.
Let's ask them
so
for
they
directions.
go around to ask for directions, and he goes to one of the pumpkins, and then she goes, "You seem too early, not ready to join us yet."
Which, very on the nose.
Yeah, like, but when you watch it the first time, you're like, what the hell does that mean? Like,
Well, but you realise after you finish
foreshadowing,
watching the episode why.
Because the twist at the end of the twist of the episode, because again, spoilers throughout the entire show. The twist of the episode is that the skeletons.
Like everyone
Skeletons
there is
wearing pumpkins.
And like crops. It's like not just pumpkins, but like the actual leaf litter of the crops.
That's true. They're just a farming town of a bunch of dead people having fun in their afterlife, which is why she's like, "Oh, you're not ready because she's got all that flash on you."
You're still alive.
Because they disrupt the whole thing, and then they get sentenced to a couple hours of labor. And he's like, and Wart's like, "Oh, that's not too bad." And they just go and do that. And I love the line where it's like, "Buried treasure. Oh, what'd you find? A skeleton."
Which, hey, you dug up the life of the party.
No, Greg is really consistently good through the whole
He says
show.
so many things that make me
Oh,
laugh
I-
so hard.
I gotta say though, favorite part of episode 2 is when the giant pumpkin says, "You'll join us eventually." They all do. Okay, Mr. Pumpkin
He's
Man.
not wrong. He's not wrong. Especially if you go by the theory that they're in purgatory.
Yeah,
Like, because there is that
because
fan...
he stole
There's that
something.
fan theory that the unknown is like purgatory.
Overall, I really enjoyed
Yeah,
episode 2. Probably my favorite out of the whole
That's fair.
thing.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Episode...
I just want to say that one thing that this show does really well is nothing overstays its welcome. Like a lot of like everything in this show, it's introduced, it like does what it needs to do, and then it's gone. Like nothing is really taking up your time, or you never get bored.
I think it's also it also helps the fact that it's also like the episodes are only 11 minutes each. It's like nice and short and consistent. It does it comes and goes as it needs. Yeah, nice point, Jacob.
Yeah, no, this is just like a thing that I really was like noticing as I was going through, because this is my second time watching it. And yeah, just like I fully expected when I sat down to watch this, I was expecting to have to make myself watch it because I'd already seen it. And I remember getting like halfway through the third episode and being like, "Oh, this is good."
I was hooked after the first episode. I was like, "Oh man, I need to see how this ends."
Luckily, it's only an hour and
Yeah.
40 minutes. So episode 3, Schooltown Follies. So like, you know, so they just find a school in the middle of nowhere.
Potato and molasses.
The musical numbers in this show are great.
Oh, they are.
I do love how they're not even like, they're not good. They are very much like just a child just singing what they're doing sort of thing.
Yeah,
But they're done so well.
it's brilliant. But I gotta say though, that you need to get that school teacher some professional help.
But yeah, so
A is for apples that he gave to me. B is for something. All the way into Y is for the question I am feeling now.
like yeah, but so,
Ugh.
so yeah, so episode 3, the plot is that like Greg's like, "Oh, school, I don't want to go to school," and then Beatrice is like, "Oh, Wart just does whatever he's told," and he takes offense to that, so he's like, "Okay," and he does everything that anyone ever tells.
She said, "What? You're a pushover." No, I'm not. Then shut up. Like, shut up. All right. See, it's brilliant.
Because this is the point where him being an asshole is just like, you know what, he's standing a point and that's funny. Like it always made me laugh when he'd be like, I was like, "Go to the dunce box." He's like, "Okay," and like me just like, "What are you doing?" It's, "I'm doing what I'm told."
He was being an asshole, but like peak comical asshole. Not like being mean, but proving a point
Yeah, and it was
in a
good.
way.
Another
Yeah.
point I want to add, and
Sarcastic.
I only noticed this on my second watch, but I don't know why it didn't click the first time around. But do you know what the school's for?
Animals.
Yeah, they're teaching
animals
animals.
to read, right?
They've dressed them up in actual...
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, fantasy animals. No, that's just an actual pig. That's an actual... Like, they put animals in clothes, sat them down, and trying to teach them how to read. Which is why the school is going
they mentioned-
bankrupt, because no one's paying.
Yeah, no, like later on in the episode, like the guy who funded the school, like he
Her
shows
dad.
up and he's like, "I paid for you." Yeah, but he comes in and he's like, "I paid for you to teach these animals to read and write." And
Not to make music.
It's just so funny, because you're just like, what? Because...
What? Because spoilers for the episode. Because he ends up stealing all the instruments from the animals. But not long after that, Greg and Ward come across him. And he's fallen asleep, and Greg's just like, "Let's steal him. Let's steal his
because
stuff."
like the guy, he's like, "Oh, I wish I could like pay for their school, but I have to sell these instruments to pay for the school. I'm running out of money. If only her man never ran away on her."
I sold my house, my life savings to this school, and now I must sell these instruments to
And
keep
it's
the school
so-
up.
and then you're meant to go, "Oh," and then Greg's like, "Let's steal them."
no, it's
Oh, it's done so well. And then like he wakes up going, "Oh no, my instruments are gone," and he meets up with Wart going, what's happening? He's, oh, we're doing a fundraiser. It's like, to raise for the money for the school. And he's like,
potatoes and molasses.
also,
I gotta say, the first time I heard that song, I was just sitting there like, isn't molasses the stuff you find in the Bundaberg rum factory? I remember specifically going through the molasses chamber.
I mean, maybe. It's like, it could just, like, again, this, like, the unknown feels like it takes place in that weird 1930s Great Depression, which they were trying to teach animals how to read and write. I have, like, a quote from this episode, which is just, Beatrice being like, bluebirds have a short lifespan. You're literally killing me.
That was a funny moment.
But yeah, so, episode 4, Songs of a Dark Lantern. It was interesting.
It wasn't the most memorable for me, but it wasn't that the one where you actually found out more about the woodcutter.
Yeah, because you actually get to see the beast in this.
Yeah, it was the first appearance of the beast.
But so, like...
I gotta say that compared to the last appearance, I much preferred the first appearance of the beast.
Or being, possessing a dog.
Being just the shadow being.
He is the shadow being in this one.
Because you don't actually see what the beast looks like until the last episode.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like...
And
I think that was done well,
that
though.
was done really well.
I know, it was done really well, but actually, I was like pause framing the images of the beast, and oh my god, it's horrifying.
Oh, we'll get to that. But so, so episode 4, they end up in a tavern, and everyone in the tavern has a gimmick. And it's like, that's the baker, that's the fashion designer, oh, poor him. That's the tailor.
The bar lady.
It's just so sad. And
the highwayman.
And who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm Wart, that's Greg. And like, yeah, but who are you? And he goes, I'm Wart, that's Greg. It's like, well, I'm the baker. That's the tailor. That's the midwife. That's the butcher. And they have a whole song and dance. Again, now they're really well done. But the highwayman is animated really weirdly.
Oh no, that whole scene was really good.
It's like he himself is just psychedelic.
Yeah, it was weird. You're like, what the hell?
I assume it was animated by someone else.
Yeah, probably. Like, that's just how that works. But like,
it was really good. I like the Highwayman's song, but at the same time, make ends meet with the throat slicing.
But like so when they're riding away in like the cabin, they're in like a giant haystack. They're all in there, and there's a guy on like who's got like the horses, and he's whipping the horse, going, "The beast is upon me! The beast is upon me!" And it's like, Greg, what do you see? He goes, "I don't know. I don't see anything. This guy's nuts." Yeah, and then so they go through, and then like Beatrice is kicked outside, and she's talking to a horse, which just laughs at her. So the whole tavern's trying to work out what Wart is. It's like, oh, you must be the lover. And he goes, no, I'm not the lover. I'm trying to get to... Oh, no. And, like, so many things. But, like... Oh, what was it? I just in my notes, I've just got Wart as the Dipper type. Like, in this episode, they're very similar.
By the end of it, he was so hyped up, he stole a horse.
Yeah, because he was...
The way he steals the horse, so though, where he's just like, he just walks up, he's like, well, I'm just going to pretend I'm going to ride you, okay?
Yeah,
I'm
and he just
just go. That's because
pops on and just leaves.
Like, this is like a bit of a turning point because they call him a pilgrim, and they really like hype him up, and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of am a pilgrim. You're right. It's still like directions though," and they're like, but a pilgrim don't need no directions." He goes, "I disagree. I still like directions."
And he ends up leaving without directions.
Yeah, they kind of just go.
Just a side note though. Okay, wind. Directions thing. I kind of assume that directions don't really work in the unknown. Because the woodcutter is always, like, around, even though he shouldn't be, considering everyone's meant to be traveling.
Yeah, that's
a very good point. I would like to add in the fact that, like, they're trying to get home, but there is no home for them in unknown. Like, they're trying to leave the forest to get to their house, but they can't because they're in the unknown.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like some sort of like a living forest where it moves around constantly, or it's just the beast's work. Or the beast
the beast did say it was his forest.
Yeah, so like he can like shape and change the forest to his will. That's why like the woodcutter is just kind of everywhere.
He holds the lantern.
The only other thing I'd like to have note of is that because when I first watched this, I don't remember what I thought of the Beast when I first saw him. But when I watched it this time, 'cause I didn't remember it being like I remember it being spooky, but not like terrifying with like the white eyes and the black silhouette. But watching it this time, I was just like, Jesus Christ, that's terrifying as hell. Like the way he talks and the way he sings. Yeah, but it's not like a quiet, like spooky humming, like a loud booming singing, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, like the way he doesn't lean super hard into like the generic spooky like monster. Is just kind of a guy almost, and in a way that makes him scarier.
He's a guy that sings.
But like, you know how in this a reference, you know in FNAF VR, how one of the endings you could get like Corey gets it. Corey knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about.
In FNAF VR, in one of the endings, spoilers for that game, when you've been stuffed and you're on stage, and you just see
by stuffed he means there's someone who has physically shoved your corpse into an animatronic suit.
They can assume everyone knows FNAF to a degree. People know the name, but when Glitch Trap is just dancing around, it's the same thing.
Just it's the guy in a suit dancing, but yeah,
it's the same type of feel of like.
It's the implication that's scary.
No, but not even that. But just like him singing is the same thing as him dancing. It's just like, I don't know what it is, but it's fucked. It's no good. It's bad. Oh no.
In my opinion, I think it's the implications. Because all throughout this, you heard, don't listen to the lies of the Beast's song. Don't submit to the Beast's song. I think it's hearing the song. It's sobering. And that's what makes it scary.
Fair enough. Cool. Episode 5, Mad Love. I have 2 notes on this episode.
My first note for this episode was I actually had to pause the episode because I was laughing too hard from Horse to Meet You.
I forgot about that bit.
Like it's the simplest joke. It's the most obvious joke, but it just comes out of nowhere.
I think like.
Well, it's an anti-joke, I guess.
I was not ready for the horse to start talking.
Yeah, no.
Let alone get a job.
My favorite line of dialogue from the horse, and it's because of and the audio has been going around TikTok as well. I don't know if it is anymore, but I remember it being around. But like, it's like the audio is like, oh, we gotta steal something. No, we're not gonna steal anything. We stole a horse. No, he came along with us. He has his own free will. Hey, I want to steal stuff. That was funny. And then they're like, oh, so how much you gonna steal? 2 cents, like 2 pennies. And like, is that it? And it's like, yeah, that's all we need to get across the ferry. And they're like, oh.
Also,
well, I'm sure he had some spare change lying around.
But everyone knows that story, right? The 2 pennies to take the ferry.
No, what?
Because to put it on your eyes of the corpse, pay the Grim Reaper to cross the sticks.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed the second time through.
That's fascinating. Huh. Because again, I didn't know that.
Like they're really.
Like
they really lean into it. Like they're not subtle. Well, they are subtle, but they're not. What's the word?
If you don't have prior knowledge, it's subtle.
They're subtle, but they don't try to hide it. Rather.
It's a good time. This episode had a good this is kind of like a little bit of like it's a bit more relaxed. It's a bit more, they're just having a bit of fun. Like they lied to get into the mansion. They said that they were nephews of the uncle. No, nephews of the rich guy.
Nephews of the uncle.
Yes. And nephews of this rich guy who takes them around going, oh, there's a ghost. And Greg's like, yeah, let's go and see a ghost. While they go and try and get
the horse was, when he gets, like, when the rich guy gets scared, he's like, oh, let's go back to the parlor. And the horse is like, no, there's no one at the parlor. We're not trying to steal anything at the parlor. Let's keep going for the ghost.
And then when you get to pretty much the ghost, he's like, hey guys, let's go back to the parlor. I love the twist of this episode being that these 2 people are so rich and their mansions are so big that they're connected.
and the implication that they have definitely like missed each other just constantly the whole time.
Yeah,
To the point where they
Like
just thought each
like
other
it's-
was ghosts.
Like but like they didn't think. It's not that they've never crossed into the other's mansion. It's just that they've never been in the same area at the same time.
yeah, like,
Because they've definitely, like in the garden, they've both been in the garden quite a bit,
and they've both,
but they've just never been there at the same
and they've
time.
both seen each other's portraits because they know each other from the portrait.
It's one of those stranger episodes that's just fun to watch.
Oh yeah, but it is funny. It's a good one. Like,
The official tea-bearing horse.
like, also, like, we get a bit of Beatrice's backstory of like why she's a bluebird, and it's like, yeah, I threw a rock at a bluebird. Now my whole family's bluebirds. Oops. And then she's like, oh, what's your darkest secret, Wart? And he goes, I have a crush on a girl. And she's like, you serious? Is that it? Nothing else?
And I play clarinet and recite poetry to myself at night.
And she's like, oh, that's normal. Although the poetry thing's a bit weird, but like...
Yeah, and like you said before, he is very 14.
Oh, he so much is.
The worst thing in the world for him is for people to know that he likes a girl. Like, he could be dead right now.
Yeah, I know. Episode 6. Lullaby in Frogland. Another weird one.
Yeah.
This is really, really good.
The only note I have is just
It's
the name
tadpoles.
Jason Thunderburger. Because I'm like, what a name. Like, I remembered the name, and I'm like, what a name. It's so good.
Is this the first time it... No,
This is the
is it
first
the first time it comes
This is
up?
the first time the name itself comes up.
If this is the one where they're on the ferry, yeah?
Yeah, this is when I'm on the fair with the frog.
After Greg threw away the
Yeah,
change.
that's right.
So,
Greg threw away the change. Because
so
he wanted
they
something
they
else, but he
snuck
got
their way
2
on this
pennies,
boat.
so he threw it in the fountain.
Yeah, so they snuck their way on a boat, but one of my favourite parts is they're being chased by the guards. And they accidentally step on some tadpoles.
Oh, yeah.
So they're running around a ship and slipping on babies.
Oh,
Like, this group of newborns.
Like, and by group, we mean like the father's got like 30 of them in his arm.
Interesting and horrible at the same time.
We get to learn that the frog can sing.
Mr. President, as he's known in that episode.
Yeah, I think that's the episode where there's like George Washington.
and Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, the names keep changing every single episode. Like, I think at the end of episode 1, it was Wart. So it's like, wouldn't that be confusing? No, I'll name you something else. I'll name you Kitty and it Wart. Good job, Wart. Oh, thank you. No, I meant the frog.
And then, like, episode 2, it's Wart Jr.
And like, it eventually just keeps going with different random names. But like, yeah. So I don't have much to say on this episode.
Yeah.
Apart from them being chased around. Oh, and Mr. President speaks. You learn he can
Yeah.
sing.
All in all, it's just
So-
like good music. Just like the visuals are very good as well in this episode.
Yeah, and Beatrix gives Wart the nice confidence boost he needs.
Oh yeah, and this is the point where like she starts to kind of act real sus.
Yeah, because they're like, we're on our way to Adelaide's because that's where Beatrice says we have to go so we can get home. And she's like, I don't know if we should go to Adelaide's. It very much reminded me of, man, there's a lot of this episodes where you're going, you know what, this reminds me of this other thing, you know? But like, it reminded me of like from Ice Age. Just grabbing references out of...
Okay. Cinematic masterpiece.
It is. You can fight me over that if you disagree. Brilliant. But like, because there's a scene where like they're going through the past and Diego's like, I don't think we should go this way anymore. I think if we do this other way it'll be better. Because again, he was setting up an ambush. Which is similar to what happens in episode 8?
The next episode.
No, episode 8 happens, I think.
I thought it was 7. Because at the end of the episode, Beatrix flies away. And then it cuts to the next episode.
No, you're right. Sorry, it is episode 7. Yeah, so episode 7, they arrive and they meet Adelaide. But twist, Adelaide's trying to get 2 slaves, pretty much.
Yep, 2 child
Yeah.
slaves. And she wants to sew thread into their brains so that she can control
Yeah,
them.
so the sheep. And you're like, oh my god.
I don't have much to say about this episode apart from what the fuck.
The only notes I have is that the face is creepy.
No, I just love the character interactions and stuff in this episode.
No, they're really good.
Like, a lot of the things people say, and they're like, oh, wait, you were being serious, okay. You're just gonna... Like, yeah, like, the voice acting did... Like, this is where I think I really was like, wow, the voice cast is done really well here.
But, like, yeah, like, because Adelaide is creepy, because, like, there's just thread everywhere, and she has scissors. It's just, like, that golden, like, bird scissors, which are just so, like, creepy looking. And the reveal of... to get... Beatrice is trying to hand them over so she can get the scissors so she can return her family back to normal. But now she's like, no, I don't want to hand them over.
Also, just like, that is one of the scarier things in this show, where it's like, oh yes, if you don't want to be a bird anymore, you must cut your wings off with a pair of scissors.
Yeah. Because you're like, that
that's
doesn't make sense.
That's the most unsettling part of this, for me.
Yeah.
And that would have hurt as well.
Yeah, it's horrible to think about. And also, how do birds use scissors?
Yeah.
Well, I think she would have done it to her family
But
first. Like, their claws on their feet.
You'd have to have, like, at least two of them kind of flying at an angle, and it would just be a slow, awful time. Until you get one human. And then eventually, then it's okay. But Jesus, yeah, like, that's bad. And it's just... Everything hits the fan because the outside air is literally toxic to Adelaide. She melts up the old Wicked Witch. And then, like...
And then everyone...
They split up because Wart's like, no, you tried to give us to her. I'm out of here. Come on, Greg. And they leave.
And then it gets to the next episode. And I think this one's called... No, this is episode 7, aren't we talking about?
Yeah. This is the bell.
Yeah. Okay, the next episode's the bell part.
Oh, sorry.
It's...
Oh my god, I was thinking I was being...
Did we miss an episode?
No. The end of Lullaby and Frogland was the Adelaide bit.
Oh. That's right, that was a kind of long episode somehow.
Yeah, I was trying to...
It was like...
I was like...
It was an
It felt longer.
I don't remember...
They're all like 11 minutes 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, that one was like a bit longer, and I think it was 12. Really demonstrating... Like, that one really demonstrated, like I was saying before, like, nothing overstays its welcome. Like, it really just kind of... Like, the couple of minutes you need for this little thing to happen, and then we're moving on.
Oh, yeah, because no, the next episode was the Banshee, wasn't it?
Yeah, because chapter 7 was Ringing of the Bell, which I was so confused. I was like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, this is... Okay, now I gotta go back to my notes.
Yep.
This face was creepy. Now I remember this face.
The one with the black teeth.
But, like, yeah, like, the face... It felt like very much like an Adventure Time face. Like, it felt straight out of that show where, like, yeah, they do a creepy episode and this is the face you see. Yes, like, the plot of the episode, so they've split up from Beatrice, and they're roaming around, and they find,
an abandoned house. And this is the one time Greg goes, that's an old creepy house, we shouldn't go there. And Wood's like, thank God it's a house, let's go in there.
Yeah, because I think it was raining at the time? Or something like they just needed shelter.
Turns into like a nice little love story between Wart and
love story. It's like it starts out like that, and then it's revealed that she's like
gonna eat him.
Yeah, because you have like these two people live in the house. You have Auntie and what's her name?
Don't think she actually has a name.
No, she has a name.
Oh, I can't remember it. But so essentially she was possessed by a spirit that if she stopped working, she would turn into a human devouring.
The work was to distract her from being the beast. Well, not the beast, but like a beast. Like to stop her from being
a spirit,
a horrible creature, they have to ring the bell and she'll obey the command. And so her auntie, not related by genetics, is trying to no,
help
if
her.
there are other people are here, they should leave because she's going to go and eat them. But throughout the whole episode, you're like, oh, Auntie's going to eat them.
Ends up saving her.
No, it's the twist of like, oh no, it's her, because they're running away from Auntie because Benjamin Franklin ate the bell, which I completely forgot about happened. I forgot.
And banishes evil spirits.
Yeah, and then like
because I thought Greg was gonna be like chase scene from aunt. The aunt. But no.
Because obviously they went upstairs and just... the bell was eaten, and like, oh, of course, that makes sense. I just like that because I just did not remember about the bell, and I'm like, oh yeah, the bell.
But no, like the way that they're all like, oh, scary old lady, and they like lock themselves in that little like closet, and they're like, oh, okay. And then it just like has the girl like just like turn like they turn around, the girl's like, I'm going to eat you now.
But it had a nice ending because Greg was able to I think Wart was able to banish the beast banish the creature, the spirit completely. It's gone forever. And they can now live peacefully.
So that was all I can really say on that episode. But I think that was like the first time Wart was truly heroic.
Yeah.
Also, just side note, that bell is still inside the frog later.
I was going to bring that up later. I was going to bring that up when we talk about the finale. But also, well, it's the second time he's heroic. The first time he's heroic was when he's called a pilgrim and he goes out to save Beatrice.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is like another example of going, okay, he's changing. He's
But-
not being a
But
selfish.
no, what I mean is, the first time Beatrice wasn't actually in any danger. She just flew into a tree and passed
They
out.
didn't know that.
They didn't know that. But this time, people were gonna die.
Yeah, it's true. It's episode 8, Babes in the Wood.
What was this episode again?
Wart
I
and Greg
can't
are
remember
drawn
it.
into a dream world.
Oh.
Greg was drawn into a dream world of Cloud City. Like, there's like a little cloud town.
Oh, yeah, and he like... Yep, I
When
remember
Greg
now.
was
He
battled
makes
the
a deal
Norsemen.
with the Queen of the Dreams.
Yeah, and Wart just gives up hope. Wart he's given up hope. He's done. Which is what the Beast wants. But meanwhile, Greg's having like a fun little adventure in the clouds, which has to be legit. Because at first it's like, oh, it's a dream sequence. But no, because it has actual world consequences.
Hence, like, spoiler alert, the end of the episode, Greg makes a deal with the Queen of Dreams to make a deal with the Beast. Because Greg was... Well, not Greg. Wart was going to be consumed by the Beast.
because Greg saves the town,
A blood tree.
and the spirit's like, hey, I'll give you a magic wish, the good ones. But you can decide. And he's like, oh, I want to go home with my brother. And he goes, oh, but he's lost. He's lost to the forest now. We can't take him home. And because Wart was like, yeah, sure, you be the leader. I'm done. And he's like, oh, and he's taken on this responsibility. And he's like, well, I'll let him go and I'll stay. Because he doesn't understand the exact consequences. That he wants his brother to be happy and out. Because he thinks it's all his fault. Because that's what Wart keeps telling him. Jesus Christ. And he at the beginning of the episode, he did say a thing that made me laugh, which is like, you can do anything you put your mind to. At least that's what old people say.
And the Beast says that again later.
Oh, it's said a few times.
Yeah, no, something I wanted to say, though, is, like, I think the North Wind is my favourite part of the show, almost.
It's like one of those 50s cartoon battle sequences.
My favourite part's the dog. Because it just cuts
yeah, no,
to a dog and he's got like a cloud raining on him and he just looks sad and it just cuts away and that's it.
But no, like, because, like you were saying before, like, this has to be legit, like, that whole sequence with the wind, and then it cuts to Wirt being, like, frozen.
Tree slowly growing around him. And then for most people on their first time watching going, oh my god, the woodsman's cutting down children. And then you watch it in Cartoon Network and be like, oh my god, this is dark. We'll air it over 2 nights? 2 nights? Air it over 2 nights. Cool.
Because then you get to the next episode, and what do you know?
Episode
Greg
9.
is a stump.
Not yet. This is the back. This is.
Oh,
no,
Into
this is
the
the-
Unknown.
The backstory,
This is the
yeah.
backstory episode.
This is, like...
Okay, now I can explain why his shoes are multicolored. Because it's a Halloween party.
That doesn't mean his shoes are multicolored, dude.
He's a clown person.
No, he's.
Or a
No,
gnome.
he's not.
They have...
I thought he was meant to be a knight, wasn't he?
Really?
At no point was he
That's a
meant to be
knight.
a clown, Corey.
I meant like a gnome. So I was thinking clown, because isn't that what Sarah went?
Yeah,
was a
Sarah
clown?
was a clown. Kind of. She had a skull
For,
face.
for context, Sarah is the girl that
Wart likes.
Wart likes.
This whole episode is amazing.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
It's so good.
It is such.
Because it really
I-
just...
I wish to see more of Sarah, because in the episode she talks about going out of the party with a few friends to hang out in the graveyard and drink age-appropriate drinks.
He says it a couple of times, too. Just like, yeah, you know, just age-appropriate drinks.
Yeah.
Yes, completely age-appropriate legal drinks.
I wrote that down in my notes. Like that's like that's like such a good line.
And the police officer
No,
Yeah, the kid's like,
slow,
"Hey, no running. Ah,
Kids,
just kidding. Happy
hands-
Halloween."
and then later on it's like, kids, you're all under arrest for trespassing. I'm just
Happy
kidding.
Halloween. No, wait, don't run.
Wait,
You can hurt
that's it.
yourself.
Never mind. Get down from that. Oh, get down from that wall. I am being serious. Jumps over opposite of that side of the wall. Not that side of the wall.
Yeah, but yeah, this is like you. It really hits home. You're like, dude, this man is 14. So this obviously takes place in like the 80s.
Okay, here's a tape.
Yeah, because they have a cassette tape.
Like he has
It's like late 80s, early
cassette.
90s. That's what I would pitch the time of the show being. And so,
Well,
like,
I'd probably say I'd say early '90s because cassette players they kind of faded out in the '90s, didn't they? Because Sarah said she didn't have a cassette player.
yeah, but well, actually, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'd say yeah. So I'd say early 90s. That makes sense.
like, it really just... They show that, like, this guy's a nerd, he's making poetry for the girl he likes.
Oh, I was it Jason Thunder? What?
Jason
his face?
Thunderburger's reveal.
The reveal of... Like, he's been talking up this guy that is totally gonna get the girl that he's got a
He's
crush
got
on
his
the whole
life
show.
And
then the
I was
reveal-
imagining him as like some sort of jock.
Because the name Jason
comes out as
Thunderburger, you're like, oh man, that guy's got muscles and a Letterman jacket. Nah.
No, he's like a scrawny guy in a suit with a speech impediment.
And he's not even gonna get the girl. It's not even like, oh, he might. It's like, no, she's not interested in him.
Yeah, like, it really shows her. Like, he tries to make a joke. He's like, hey, look behind you, there's a ghost. And she's just, and he just, no one even reacts. And he's like, and they're all just like, it's okay. Like, they're all just kind of humoring him the whole time.
Now for episode
Oh,
10.
no, hang on. I forgot.
I believe.
There's so much
Oh,
from
or is there
this
still more?
There's so much from this episode I have to, like, there's two, there's,
I just, that was just all the stuff I had to say about it.
oh, well, I have,
Like it's a great episode, but it's one of those things that I don't actually want to say much about. 'Cause it's one of those episodes I want people to see for themselves.
that's fair.
Makes
I just want to
sense.
say one other thing, or like two other things. So the first thing is a quote where Greg has been doing stuff for this like neighbor or something, and she's like, and he's like, thank you, old lady, something something, and she's like, don't call me old lady. It's like, please don't call me old lady, and he's like, yes sir, young man. And it's just glossed over entirely with like whatever Ward's doing, but I'm like, come on, that was the funny, that was so good.
Yeah, like, that's really good. Like,
the humor in this show. Like, yeah, sure, it's got its morbid moments, but at the same time, it's also got just that on point.
It's written so
humor.
well. It is so
Yeah.
so well written.
I was gonna say, like, there's so many characters that they just have in this episode to make that they're all written well enough to make it feel, like, real.
Like, they're not just haphazardly put together.
Yeah, like, they introduce, like, 8 different people or something in this episode. They're all just friends of, like, or people that the work knows. And, like, they do so well with, like, 2 lines of dialogue.
And the other thing I have to add for this show is like the last Walt wakes up, like he tries to get it, like he breaks out of like the twigs and he's trying to find like his brother, and he collapses and he wakes up in like where Beatrice's family is, like in the thing, and she's like, eat some dirt, and like he does.
The first time, he spits it out. But the second time, he just accepts it, eats the dirt, and leaves.
But then, like, yeah, she goes, like, you'll be no good to him because he's like, I need to go. And she's like, oh, no, you can't. It's, like, cold outside. You can't leave. And it's like, you'll be no good to him dead. And he responds with, I was no good to him alive either.
That hit me in the
Oh,
feels.
yeah, it just hits you so hard. And you're like, oh.
Character development.
This is such a good show. And then episode 10, The Unknown.
But, I loved this episode, but at the same time, I hated it. Because you see the first color image of the beast. And
I
he's like
like
an
it.
old rotted wood full of holes and
Which are horrible faces.
Which I feel like, I want to say, like, I don't think this is meant to be taken entirely literally.
Mm.
Like, I feel like that was just to show that he is, like, an unknowable existence in the wood, almost.
Well, I was when I saw that, I thought maybe it was these like it could be the souls of the children in the trees.
Yeah.
Of the people
But also,
playing.
it's just like, you're not really meant to see it too well, because it really is just like a single frame.
I didn't pause it this time around. I just let it run.
I had like I let it run the first time, and then I actually rewatched that single episode so I could pause frame it and grab the proper glimpse of what the monster looked like.
It was nearly 3 a.m. I didn't need to see it. I'm like, I'm good. But like, it's just a flash cut, and like, you just don't see it well, and you're just like, what the hell was that? I just saw a bunch of mouths and eyes and white. Like, what?
In the end, I feel like it just wrapped up nicely. Like, they got, the beast, I don't know if it was exactly defeated, but the woodcutter got his daughter back. Beatrice and her family.
Yeah, because the woodcutter's like, I've had enough of this, and he goes to fight, and then, because, Greg's just being covered up in the tree.
Sarah over.
He's getting covered up in the tree, and like, he's like, what, if you, like, get the oil from these trees, I'll keep your brother's soul in the lantern. And he goes, okay, wait a second, hang on a second. That's not how that works. And just, like, destroys. And the beast is like, what? He goes, no, it's your soul in here. Because he just works it out. I don't know how. It doesn't really set up, but he just works it out, and you're like, cool. That makes some sort of sense.
So is that all that happens this episode? Like,
yeah, they do that. Like, he saves his brother, he gives Beatrice the scissors, and then they awake up in the lake where they where they jumped over they avoided the train, landed in the lake, ended up in the unknown, came back from the unknown, saved everyone. They collapsed when they're like, oh my god, are you okay? And he collapses, and he wakes up in hospital. Sarah's there. She picks up the tape, and he's like, let's not listen to that one first.
Yeah, and then in the background, Greg is just shaking around the frog with the bell inside of it.
And you're like, oh, therefore, that exists. Where did they go? Where is this unknown? I don't know where it is, but it exists 100%.
Is this where you guys would have turned the episode off?
No. I watched the whole credits.
Okay, because... Corey, did you watch the credits? Is Corey here? Because no, in the credits there, is it the frog that's singing? Or the beast, or the narrator, or someone's singing, right?
Yeah, it's the frog.
But did you listen to the lyrics?
No, I was like, man, I was just thinking about the show overall, but also, like, I was looking, because they do a wide shot of the town they're in, and I'm like, God, that town looks so familiar. It's the same town from Clarence, I'm pretty sure, which is another Cartoon Network show. Hang on.
But no, because, but I was going to say, that song at the end, I was half asleep, like, toward the end of it, like, I was very tired, but it's singing about, the unknown. It's like, all these people living their beautiful lives.
Oh.
As it's doing, like, the little, like, as it's cutting across everyone getting their happily ever after. Yeah. And the last word of that song is, like, everyone living their most, like, wondrous lives. Which leads me to believe, like, you know what I mean?
There is...
like, this weird purgatory state that they all exist in may not be... real?
But there is some form of it that exists to have the frog, happen.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying that they didn't all get their happily ever after kind of thing. Like, the woodcutter didn't just find his daughter.
Like, he did find his daughter, but, like, we don't know what to, like, is it? I don't know, it is very...
Yeah, like, it's really ambiguous, sort of, toward the end.
So the same town from Over the Garden Wall is the town in Clarence. Like, it's... I'll send a picture through. It's pretty much the exact same. Like, there's a few little differences, but like, again, time changes. So, like, the top image there is Clarence, the bottom image is from the show.
Right.
So aside from, like, one tower, it's pretty much the exact same. Now, that could be a lot of different factors. Maybe they just were running out of time. Maybe they just wanted to throw in a neat Easter egg. But, like, it is interesting, and it's kind of cool to think that those... Because Clarence, for those who don't know, it's just kind of like a show that about, like, just kids in life. Like, that's about it. There's not much to say about it. It's not like fantasy. It's not like a Gravity Falls thing. It's just like, no, it's about Clarence and his two friends just living through middle school, like, the beginning of middle school, late primary school type thing. They're like 13, and it's running around the 2010s. But, like, it's just like those two units, like, okay, cool, Easter egg. Corey's dropped back off, but I'll record what his rating is when he gets his phone back on charge. What did you think of the show, Jacob?
I think it is a wondrous little show. Like, while it is kind of scary and all that, and it's definitely, like, meant to be, it almost feels kind of like a whimsical walk through the woods in a way.
Yeah, it has that, like, you know, like when you look at an old photo and you can feel the nostalgia because of, like, the way, like, the grain around the actual photo. It's like that. It's got that feel of a time long gone, but it like kind of like it's a bit like a warm. It's like a nice, it's like a nice warm hug kind of. But then you've also got this menace to it. I don't know how to describe it.
No, but it's a very nice show to watch, and I'm probably going to watch it every Halloween.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do the same as well. While this is not going to be in, like, my top 10 shows of all time, it is really good, and I do, like, while we have talked about it, I do recommend going and sitting and watching it. It's pretty solid. Because it's good for Halloween, because it's good for people who want a spook, but it's not that spooky.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because it's got that, like, that... there's a few spooks here and there, but it's nothing, like, horrifying. Kids, maybe, but for most people, it's fine. On that note, I'll add in a little bit for Corey here, but, Jacob, where can people find you on the internet if they...
Here.
Yeah, that same as, like, Karen. Like, it's just, like, I don't know, here, on the channel.
I don't do stuff currently on the internet.
Fair enough. No, like, yeah, because you're on the Adventure Time TV Retrospective, the 6v6s, what would you... Gosh, that's like, that's like, gosh, it's been a while. And as for me, as always, you can find me on Twitter at GoddamnRobots, Letterboxd at What's His Face, YouTube stuff here. I have a podcast, Trip with the Popcorn, that's on iTunes, Spotify, and I think that's all my links. As this year has gone on, my stuff to link to has progressively gotten bigger and bigger. Yeah, and I think that's about it. Alright, well, cool, I'll stop the recording then.